I've been thinking a lot about work optional versus financial independence retire early, aka FIRE. If you haven't heard these terms, I'll explain them shortly. Work optional is great if that's what you want. It means having control over your work, making enough money to feel like you could leave anytime, or even finding a job you actually enjoy. But let's be clear, none of that is FIRE. The real thing means walking away for good, never looking back, and letting your money do all the heavy lifting. Work optional is like training for a marathon, realizing it's too much effort, and settling for a half marathon. Still impressive, sure, but not the full thing. So, what's the difference? That's what I am breaking down today. What work optional really means, why it's not the same as financial independence, and why so many people confuse the two. Check out the full details by visiting the link in the description. Why listen to Dada's FIRE? I became a self-made liquid millionaire at 38 despite not making $50,000 a year until I was in my 30s. I am third-generation FIRE, but no one ever gave me a penny. I retired at 42 with real financial independence. No bosses, no deadlines, no pressure to earn another dollar. My money works, I don't. That's the difference. I didn't just save a little and keep working for fun. I built wealth, invested wisely, and set up a life where work is truly optional, not because I might quit, but because I already did. FIRE isn't a theory for me, it's my reality. So, if you want to understand what financial independence really looks like and why so many people get it wrong, you're in the right place. What is work optional anyway? Work optional means you still work, just on your own terms. That could be jumping between jobs that interest you, running your own business, or picking up side gigs that keep you engaged. Some people pursue work optional because they love the thrill of making money. Others convince themselves they can quit whenever they want, but somehow they never do. There's always an excuse, a promotion coming up, a better bonus next year, another milestone to hit. And before they know it, they're 60, still working, still telling themselves they're one step away from walking away. The problem? Work optional is not financial independence. It's still work. It's still trading time for money. The only difference is that it feels better than the grind most people are stuck in. What is FIRE? Financial independence, retire early. When I retired at 42 in 2021, I discovered the concept of financial independence, retire early, also known as FIRE. Turns out I had already done it, I just didn't know there was a name for it. I was too busy doing it to be on social media. FIRE isn't about switching to a more enjoyable job or reaching a point where you could leave work but don't. It's about building enough wealth that you no longer need to work to fund your life. And you quit working. You cannot be financially independent until you no longer work. FIRE means no paychecks, no bosses, no need to grind out another year. It's waking up every morning knowing that the money keeps coming in, whether you do anything or not. The critical difference. Work optional solves a different problem. People who chase work optional are solving a completely different problem from those who pursue FIRE. They're trying to make enough to walk away from their job if they want to. FIRE is about one thing, securing enough wealth so work becomes irrelevant. The guy who job hops to keep things fresh, the high earner who could quit but doesn't, and the entrepreneur who loves the hustle, none of them have reached FIRE. They're all still tethered to work in some way. The only thing that changes is the type of tether. If you're solving the problem of making work more bearable, that's great. Just don't call it financial independence, because it isn't. I can walk away anytime is a lie. A lot of people convince themselves they have freedom because their bank account looks good. They tell themselves they're not stuck, that they could quit at any moment. But years pass, and they're still working. Why? Because that walk away anytime mindset is usually just financial security dressed up as independence. The truth is, if you're still choosing to work even when you don't have to, it means work is still playing a role in your decisions. That's not FIRE. Then there's lifestyle inflation. The more you earn, the more you spend. Suddenly, that number in your bank account that once looked like total freedom now feels like a safety net you need to keep adding to. Fear creeps in. The fear of not having enough, of losing status, of no longer feeling productive. The paycheck is still coming in, but now it feels necessary, even when it shouldn't be. The cycle never ends unless you make a hard choice. Stop working entirely and trust your money to do its job. The different training plans. FIRE versus work optional. People chasing work optional are training for a completely different outcome than those going after FIRE. The work optional crowd focuses on a mix of maximizing income, making their jobs more enjoyable, and crafting a setup that feels like freedom while still keeping work in the mix. That's a solid plan if the goal is stability, not financial independence. FIRE, on the other hand, demands a different approach. It's about building wealth that can sustain itself indefinitely, without working, then walking away. It means prioritizing investments, cutting unnecessary expenses, and designing a life that doesn't rely on a paycheck at all. Why people get stuck at work optional instead of FIRE. A lot of people aiming for FIRE end up trapped in work optional without realizing it. They start with the right plan, saving aggressively, investing, setting themselves up for independence. But somewhere along the way, they get comfortable. The high salary, the professional identity, the idea that maybe work isn't so bad after all. Some people stay because they're afraid of boredom. The thought of not having a job terrifies them more than the job itself. Others can't bring themselves to trust their investments. They need to see money coming in through work to feel secure. And then there's the simple fact that working feels productive, and quitting feels like a loss, even when it's a win. That's why work optional becomes a trap. It keeps people close enough to freedom that they think they've made it, but not far enough that they actually have. FIRE requires a leap. Work optional lets you stay on the edge. One thing I have learned about FIRE? Commitment is everything. It's not for the hesitant. FIRE is a decision. You either step away with full confidence or you never actually reach it. I like the swimming pool analogy. Some people stand at the edge, scared the water might be too cold or that they'll sink. True FIRE. People don't hesitate, they jump. They hit the water, adjust to the temperature, and then they figure out how to swim. I'm not knocking work optional. This isn't about saying work optional is bad. It's not. If waking up to a job you enjoy, having an illusion of control over your schedule, and feeling you could leave anytime makes you happy, then great. That's a win. The problem is when people confuse that setup with true financial independence. They're not the same thing. If the goal is work optional, train for that. Build the right skills, earn as much as possible, find work that doesn't feel like work. But if true freedom is what you want, recognize that you can't get there without a full break. FIRE doesn't keep one foot in the door. It walks out and never looks back. Conclusion: choose your goal and train for it. Work optional and FIRE are not the same thing. If work is still a part of your plan, even a little, you are not financially independent. You are still training for work optional, not FIRE. And that's fine, as long as you know the difference. So ask yourself, are you really building a life where work is unnecessary? Or are you just making work more tolerable? If FIRE is the goal, then quit dipping your toe in and take the leap. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget the link in the description.